Welcome to Life in Germany Unfiltered. Today I'm your host, David, and I'm with my sister Gloria. Today we have a guest going to introduce himself and tell us about German, and going to share his thought about the best way of people coming here in Germany. So please, our guest, can you introduce yourself?
Karibu sana. Dear David, dear Gloria, it's a pleasure for me to be on your channel and to contribute to what I think is a beautiful and very necessary initiative and endeavor. I think there's not enough talk and exchange going on regarding the migration to Europe, to Western Europe, to Germany, and it's a very good thing to help others with the experience of those that have seen this migration going on for the past several years. Me, I am a filmmaker. I'm a documentary filmmaker whose projects have brought me several times to East Africa, and it was always a pleasure working there. On one of the projects, I got to know one of the hosts of today's podcast, Gloria. I think it was 2019 or 2018 when we started a project on even a historical migration. And this was very interesting since it gave me, as a filmmaker from Germany, a lot of fascinating and interesting insights in how migration worked in past times. And of course, there are always problems and there are risks, but there are also chances. And you can see those when you look back into history. But this, of course, is valid for today as well. And well, from my limited knowledge of the legal aspects of this, I would say that I'm not the right person to talk to which channel are the best. Of course, it will be always the best way to do this in a legal manner, whether you're coming as a student or as a professional or someone who wants to be trained here or someone who wants to live here. I can only encourage everyone to address the language problem. Unfortunately, German has a lot of common words with English, but it works very different. So by just knowing English, it will help you in the beginning. But I think one of the big topics of good migration, of good integration, is the one on language. So if your audience, if someone is thinking about doing this journey in his life, I would start immediately to check the language and whether you're suited to really tackle this. This may be the biggest obstacle. I think is the second obstacle might be from what I have seen, from my experience, the wrong management of expectations. Many do not know that. Many do know that Germany is a rich country, and this is very true. But the wealth here does not come from resources. So we don't have the gold beneath our soil. We don't have the rare earth or whatever is needed worldwide. We don't have those resources like oil or whatever. You can think of our biggest resource is work, and it's a certain work attitude that sometimes Germany is worth of this kind of reputation. It does not always meet the criteria for really being that good, but it's always trying to. So I would say that the wealth in Germany is built on work, and work can mean working 8, 9, 10 hours a day, getting up very early when it's still cold, and coming back at nighttime when it's already dark again. So this is not something that you might be looking for. So this has to be considered when thinking about, when you live like David coming from Arusha and Gloria from Mombasa. Those are places next to the equator. So it's always nice and warm. Sometimes there's rain. Sometimes there's too much rain. But, you will never freeze to death when you don't find a place to stay overnight. But here in Germany, this can very well happen. I know many migrants from Africa who said, okay, I'm getting almost used to everything in Germany, but you will never get used to the cold. So this is one of the obstacles you should consider as well. But of course, we have nicely built houses. We usually have a good heating system. There are clothes you can wear, so you can suit yourself and make yourself fit for the weather here and the climate. But this you need to consider when you say, okay, when you set your spirits and your expectations towards Germany. This is something you need to know. We do have 4 seasons. We have nice and hot summers that Gloria and David will certainly like. But we also have a winter time, which is cold and dark. So this is something you will need to get used to, and it can be a challenge. So from my point of view, these are the main obstacles: the language, the working spirit that you will need to have once you come here, and to be ready to invest a lot of your lifetime into working for a cause, for someone else, maybe working to make money, to find a position in life here. And work will also help you to be accepted by the local population. Germany has a lot of migrants. It has been a country that is the target of migration for all of history. As far as we can look back into history, people have come here to the center of Europe and trying to make a living here and make use of their chances. So there's a long and big tradition, but also there's always a problem when someone comes in new for him to find a place in this society. And my recommendation would be to try to do this through work. Language, as I mentioned before, is always a big topic to be accepted, but work will get you there for sure. And yes, and then you need to manage your expectations. And if you do this in the right manner, I think there's a viable chance you can find a way of making a professional or a private life in Germany. And nowadays, we have all the flight connections. This does not have to be a decision you make for the rest of your life, but you can go back and forth, as I know that Gloria does. Now and then you go back and forth. You don't have to leave your home and your family as you would have had to do maybe 100 years ago. Today things are easier regarding with migration, but since there are so many migrants, things are complicated. So we should never underestimate it. So this would be my first input regarding the topic. So I'm happy to hear your opinions and your reactions.
Okay. Thank you very much, our guest. Okay, I would like to add something and to ask a question again to our guest. So I'll start with adding something and secondly asking the question. Okay, as he has explained to us, I think we migrants, we have a mentality that in Germany life is easy or there is money, but Germany, it's what it is because there is people who have worked very hard, who have been having sleepless nights to make Germany to be what it is. In Swahili, we have a saying that goes, uspopema pema, pema si pema tena. When a place is so good and you don't take care of that place, or something is very nice, very clean, and you don't clean it and keep it so clean, then it will never remain clean. So people have struggled, the government have struggled, and for sure a majority of if I can talk of migrants, I think there is a lot of migrants in Germany comparing to other countries. So what we are supposed to do is we take away the mentality that there is money in Germany or I can get money without working. We have to work, then we will get money. And as he said, when you are going to school and learning the language, and once you have the language, you can do something more bigger. You have the opportunity for you to get what you want. So there is a lot of migrants in Germany who have really achieved what they wanted. But there is a lot who don't want to know, who don't want to study, so it makes very difficult for us to achieve what we want. Okay, my question is, for we migrants, we believe, okay, there is war and there is other problems that are happening in Africa or all over the world. So there is people who are saying, okay, I will go to Germany and live as refugee, because there is people living as refugees, having refugee status, but someone believes that I will get the support from the government. Okay, my question is, what are maybe the benefits, or what will happen to this person who is living as a refugee? What are disadvantages of you living as a refugee? Why? Because majority of the people, when they are living here as refugee, it's the end. They'll live like they decide that I'll live at this status completely my whole life. But what are the disadvantages maybe that they don't know, so that whoever is planning to come here, coming as a refugee is no problem, coming with other problems is no problem, but which is the best way that we can do to live this status so that we can have a normal life as other people living in Germany?
Yes, dear Gloria, this is a very important aspect. If you are in need of asylum, if you are looking for a safe place because your life is in danger or the circumstances of your living are simply unbearable, then there's something in Western Europe, and this goes also for Germany, that you can apply for asylum and become a refugee. But this is only a temporary state that you are in. You might be your reasons for being a refugee might be accepted, but it's nothing that you can build a life on. We had, for instance, 11 years ago in 2015, we had a great influx of refugees from Syria. There was a civil war going on in Syria, and the former head of the state, he was even fighting his own people. So a lot left the country, and more than 900,000, almost 1 million of Syrians, they came into Germany, and mostly Germany, since the other European countries refused to host them. But now, of course, as Syria has become a safe place, there's a discussion going on whether these Syrians should use the new circumstances in their country to go home. And we know by statistics that most of these Syrian families, they have found a place to live in Germany, and most of them are working already and in good employment. And there's also a need for people coming into Germany, which we should recognize. The population is a little bit too old, and we didn't have enough children. In many areas, we are looking for people who can help us out. But I think your basic point is that I would never advise someone who is not a real refugee, who is not in life danger. I would not suggest to come as a refugee, because you will, first of all, this will be checked, your reasons will be checked, and you might be refused and have to go home on the next flight. And then also this will keep you away from, real life in Germany. You will be living in a camp, and you can walk in and walk out. You can do a walk, but you cannot share the life of the local people. There will not be a possibility to work, and if you're lucky, you might get the possibility to learn the language, but this is not the good way to go. I would, if you're not a real refugee in dire need of help, then don't do it this way. Try to learn the language. Try to look what kind of professions are looked for in Germany. As David and Gloria will certainly know, we're looking for people in healthcare services, senior care services. So there are many areas in Germany and in other Western countries where people are looked for. And if you have a profession, or even, the ability or the will, the passion to do a job like this, it will be very easy for you to find a place in Germany or in other countries of Western Europe to work as such. And work will always be your entry card to life, to society, to new friendships, to making a life here, if you want to do that. So yes, don't come as a refugee if you're not really a refugee for it, but also this will be rewarded by God. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.